THQ and 4A Games are so protective of their new post-apocalyptic first-person shooter game, Metro 2033, that they're only showing it in a high-security nuclear bunker deep below the heart of Moscow. So that's where we're going right now. Set in the aftermath of a nuclear strike that's devastated the city, Metro 2033 tells the story of the survivors who fled to the underground system and to nuclear bunkers like this. We're going to catch up with the producers and the author of the novel the game is based on to find out more.
I have no recollection of life before the blast. Just a boy when they saved me. Could such things exist again? I live in hope. But today, the future is all I fear.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Dmitry Gluchovsky, who is the author of Metro 2033. So for the benefits of our viewers, can you explain a little about the story of your novel?
Yeah, the story actually unfolds in the mazes of the Moscow Metro, some 20 years after a nuclear catastrophe. And Moscow Metro, which was from the very beginning planned and constructed as the world's biggest nuclear shelter, nuclear bunker, one day had to fulfill its destination. And basically, when you speak about a doomsday, like handmade doomsday, a nuclear war or something, be it Dr. Strangelove or Mad Max, Russians are to be blamed because they are the ones who have the nuclear missiles, and they are basically the evil ones. And they will survive the war, which is probably happened by mistake, by some kind of computer bug or something. Pretty much in the same way that you will survive it in the West. So just have a new perspective on the doomsday Russian style.
Had you been to one of these bunkers as well before you started writing, or was this something
No. Back then, when I started writing, I was 17 years old, more or less, this place was still secret. And actually, the place is called GO42, which is the state object number 42. It's one of the 200 of similar state objects constructed near the metro stations. Real bunkers. This one has the 7,500 square meters surface. Was manned by some 2,000 officers of KGB and military. It was a spare command center for the missiles.
How did the game adaptation of your novel come about? How did that first get started?
Andrew Prokhorov from 4A Games, which is now developing and is about to release the game, has uncovered the text, Metro, when it was back then just a mere website. And no one knew about it, and no one believed in it. Even myself, I didn't believe in it too much. He found it, and already back then he started thinking about it. And he started developing the game when it has just been released in a very modest print run by the first publisher. And right now, they're finalizing their work, and they're releasing it when it's already a big project.
Can't get Castle Crashers to load. It's rubbish.
Metro 2033 is set post-apocalyptic world. You play as Artyom, the main character, who has lived underground most of his life, and gets thrust into the role of a hero to save the world, and we go from there.
Okay, so, I mean, for people who don't know about the game, can you just tell us what kind of a game it is? Because, I mean, when the trailer came out, there were a lot of rumours about what kind of game it would be. People thought maybe it was an open-world game. People thought maybe it was an RPG, but, I mean, that's not the case. Is that right?
No, I think it's pretty obvious from the trailers that it's, a story-driven, atmospheric, first-person shooter. It's not an open-world game. It's the goal was to make a very believable, atmospheric, story-driven game, and I think that we did that.
It's also things like the you don't have a heads-up display for your ammo. You're watching the magazine go through with the having the gas mask on when you're taking attacks. The glass is cracking. It was that kind of attention to detail. I mean,
yes, same approach. So my personal approach. So you can't say details is not important. Everything important if you want to make a really, how to say, deep immersion in the atmosphere.
Sure. And as a kind of addition to that, what are the kind of enemies that you face in the game?
Well, I think you can just use your imagination at that point. What do you think would happen if the world was covered with radiation? So, and then there's some other things that we're probably not really going to talk about at this point that you just have to play the game to find out.
One of the last things I wanted to ask about was the sections where you go out into the ruins of Moscow and you wear the gas mask and you have your time limit on the amount of oxygen you have in there. What do you think that adds to the gameplay, and does that kind of
claustrophobia and that tension? I mean, there's just that palatable. When I first started working on the game, it was one of the things I loved about it was the face mask, because just in that sense it adds a bit of claustrophobia that increases tension, and then you start getting the time element, and it all builds up to excitement at that point. And because fear in itself is kind of a twisted form of excitement. So
finally, do you know when you expect to be bringing the game to Xbox 360?
I think 2012. No, I'm joking. Early next year. No, we're planning it with the end of the world. See, December 22nd, 2012. We figure that's a good time to. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we need a good party. So right before the end of the world. No, early 2010.
Great, guys. Thanks very much for your time.